All right. Hello, everybody. I'm so glad you're here for today's video. My name's Katie. If you're new here, I'm a third grade teacher in the state of Florida. This is my 6th year teaching, and I'm going to be doing a Q&A. My backpack just fell. This is chaotic already. I'm going to be doing a Q&A video with you guys today, just kind of answering some of your questions since it's the end of the first 9 weeks for me. All right, first off, this is one of my favorite spots to do like Q&A or sit and chat videos because the lighting coming in from my bedroom is nice. Second off, I just mowed the grass, so I'm still like cooling down, and that's why my hair is in this tiny little ponytail and I'm wearing like a t-shirt and I kind of look like a sweaty mess. But there's that. Third, I'm getting my computer pulled up to like pull up all of the questions that you guys had. So some of them were left on my Instagram and some of them were left on my YouTube. So I'm going to go to my YouTube channel first and answer those questions for you guys, as many as I can. And then I'm going to go to my Instagram and answer some of those as well. There may be some overlap there. So without further ado, there is no organization to this video. I'm just reading and answering questions, but let's get started. Okay, I shared this lovely, here it is. First quarter is almost over. Drop your questions on my YouTube. So let's get started in the comments. Okay, when you face hard days, how do you make it through them? How do you stay so positive? Because I said I love watching your videos because you always look at the positive side of teaching. Thank you, that's so sweet. First off, my coworkers help me stay so positive. I love the people that I work with, and that has made a huge difference in the last 2 years for me. So find your people at work that you can just share commonalities with, spend time with. Because that helps me stay positive. I also sometimes like plan things outside of the school day, and I know that's hard because you're tired when you get home, but my husband is great at helping me plan, like I'm watching Dancing with the Stars this night with this friend, or we're having Bible study this night, and planning some of those things gives me something to look forward to during the day and helps me remember that I'm like a person outside of teaching to have something to do. So there's that one. I know that procrastination is something a lot of people, especially students, struggle with. Do you have any tips on how to help with procrastination? As far as with students, we try to stay like very organized, and we keep a Fox file, which I've shared in past vlogs. I'll try to link one to help students like find their papers and stay organized that way. I also try to just keep in constant communication with their parents if there are things that are being procrastinated on or not turned in. Because they can be a huge asset and like help in that. It's kind of a short answer, but as far as teachers go, keep yourself a running to-do list at all times, and that's going to help with your procrastination. What is your process for collecting and grading assignments/assessments? Is there a certain time of day that you give students to complete missing work? I feel like the last week of the first quarter is always crazy because I'm trying to catch my students up. First off, you're not alone on that. The last few days of my quarter feels the exact same. Like, okay, it's time to get all the things from all the friends, make sure everybody's turned everything in. So even if you do have an organized way of collecting papers, grading assignments, you still might feel that like end of the quarter rush to catch up, and that's okay. I collect their assignments. It depends on like the subject. So math, like really, I try to collect any like classwork that I'm doing just the day they do it, and then homework I collect daily. Language arts is a little bit different. I've shared in a previous vlog as well. I do packet work, and so all of their work is due the day of the test. As far as grading goes, I really try to stay on top of grading, and I don't let that snowball. Like if we take a test, I try to grade it that afternoon. And that helps me not get everything piled up, and also helps me be able to give like more immediate feedback and make intervention groups faster for my kiddos. I have a turn-in tray in my classroom. That's where my students turn their things in. And then when I'm sending graded work back home, I have mailboxes that I sort them in, and then they take it home on Fridays in Friday folders. Okay, next is, are there programs you are required to teach for each subject area? Are there any you think have been great and any you wish you could change? We don't get to use any program for curriculum coverage where we are, which has benefits and drawbacks. I agree. Any curriculum has pros and cons. And having curriculums has its pros and cons, and not having a curriculum has pros and cons as well. Curriculums that I've loved, investigations math, fantastic, loved teaching that one. I'm currently teaching Go Math, It's not my favorite, but it's also not the worst thing in the world. As far as reading goes, I've taught Wonders, and people have strong opinions one way or the other on Wonders. I don't know what the most recent version looks like and how their phonics program looks. So if they've upped their phonics game, then Wonders is probably better. But this year I'm teaching Savis My View, and let's just say 0 out of 10 would not recommend. I would take Wonders back in a heartbeat. So yeah, those are their curriculums. You are such a pre-planner. Yes. So speaking of planning, when you decide to start a family, will you be taking maternity leave, or will you plan ahead to leave teaching temporarily and come back after a certain time frame? I don't know. My answer's gone back and forth a lot on this question. I had a Q&A like 2 years ago where I was like, no, I'm going to be taking time off. But now I'm thinking maybe I won't. So we will cross that bridge when we get there. Thinking of the Taylor Swift Eras tour now, where she gets like to the first bridge of the concert. She's like, let's cross this bridge together. It's kind of how I feel about the answer to that question. There's a lot of variables, factors, and so it's one thing that I just can't plan ahead on, and I will cross that bridge when I get there. Something you find very challenging about teaching that may not be obvious. I feel like the obvious things right now are student behavior, but that's not super obvious for a lot of people. So student behavior can be very challenging, but also like you have to be a leader and autonomous in your own way. Like you run your classroom, and what you do in your classroom is up to you, not up to somebody else. And I think that's something that's hard for student teachers as well. Like, because you're in somebody else's classroom, so you kind of run and they call the shots. But when you get into your own classroom, like you got to decide what you're doing when. Obviously you'll have guidelines from your school, but like you have to be an autonomous and productive human being on your own, because then you're leading little human beings behind you, if that makes sense. And that's like a huge mental load. There's not really a second in the day where you can just sit and relax. Not that you relax at an office job, but at an office job, you're like completing tasks. And I think it's a little bit different for teaching because you kind of are like running an environment. Does that make sense? I hope so. If you had to choose one country to travel to, which would it be? I want to go to Italy one day. It would be so fun. So that would be the answer to that one. What's your favorite subject to teach? It goes back and forth. Originally, when I first started teaching, it was 100% math. Then it was like 100% reading because I love teaching phonics. Then last year I was in 3rd grade and I was like, oh, we don't have as much phonics and we didn't like our curriculum. But this year it's reading because we have a rhythm going now, and I feel like I'm actually teaching in reading. Both phonics and decoding, where it needs to be abridged for my 3rd graders, and in comprehension skills. So reading right now. But we're about to do multiplication. And so that might change because I do love teaching multiplication with the songs and all the fun things. And yeah. I need to be better about prioritizing my quiet time and Bible study. Any advice for a non-morning person? Do it at night. It's okay to do it at night. It doesn't have to be in the morning. But a piece of advice, if you do want to have it in the morning, I always do my quiet time when I have my breakfast. So if you do breakfast in the morning or coffee in the morning, tag your quiet time along with it, because I'm not going to leave the house without eating. Therefore, I don't leave the house without doing my quiet time, because I do my quiet time when I'm eating breakfast. And also, don't get on your phone until it's done. How do you organize papers? Do you have a system? I did a whole post on how I organize papers on my Instagram, so I will put that post here. And you should go to my Instagram and kind of scroll back so you can look through that. But I use paper drawers that are labeled for the days of the week. And I also have a filing system to organize papers that are for units to come, not the immediate week ahead. You guys ask great questions. Do you think you'll get a master's degree? I already have my master's degree. It's in English for speakers of other languages, so ESOL. Got it at Auburn University. I don't see myself getting another degree. Long-term goal, teaching at a university. Could be kind of cool one day, but I don't know if that'll actually happen. So that would be my next step degree-wise. Does your school have rules for videoing during the day, and why can't you show students? Based on my teaching contract, my professional contract, I do not vlog during my school contract hours because it's not part of my duties as a teacher. And that's why I don't show students either. There's just so much privacy wise that goes into that. So I try to keep like a firm boundary. I do keep a firm boundary between like sharing here on YouTube and then privacy for my students. So I hope you respect that. It's just my choice as a teacher. I don't feel like it's worth it to put any of my students online. No offense, no offense. But it could just jeopardize a lot of privacy for them. So I don't do it. I don't do it. How many sick days do you get in a school year? Is it bad if I answer that question and say, I don't know? I don't know. Like 8, I think, and we can charge 2 of them to personal, so like 6. Either that or it's 6 personal days and I can use 2, or 6 days and I can use 2 of those as personal. Is that bad? I probably need to look that up. How many students do you have? I got a solid 19 this year. Great number. And then the first comment just says, love you. Love you guys too. Thanks for asking questions. This is me realizing, I told you this video was a little bit, I don't want to say unhinged, a little unhinged, unorganized. But this is me realizing that the rest of the questions are on my Instagram and I'm currently filming on my phone. So the angle is about to change because I'm going to pause this, pull up my Instagram, screenshot the questions, send them to my computer, and then I'll be ready to answer them with you guys. So one moment, please. Okay, we're back and I'm going to take this moment to pause and have a sip of water. Much better. Okay. I sent the questions to my laptop. I almost called this a Chromebook. You know you've been at school all day when you're calling your MacBook a Chromebook. Okay, here we go. Just a few from Instagram. One is, how is your year going so far? Thank you so much for asking. That is so sweet for you to just check in. It's going fantastic. This could be one of my best years of teaching yet. It could be. It's going great. What is your favorite part about being a teacher? I'm in school right now for elementary ed, so I want to hear all positive things. Being with the kids is so fun. They're hilarious. I love seeing like the aha moments when they start to understand something. And I love, I don't want to say I love talking, but I do. I really do love like the teaching part of teaching. It's just something that I love. I even love doing that like when I was serving in kids ministry at my church and when I'm like leading Bible study. I just tend to enjoy those teachery things and like, okay, like let's open a text, let's make connections, let's do these things. I like it. So I think those are like my favorite parts about being a teacher. I also love working with coworkers and you get to do fun things like dress up, have theme days, do transformations, and sure, they're hard work, but they're also very fun. So I think that's my favorite thing. Also, there's never a dull moment. Like I guarantee you, you will never have a boring day at work, ever. Do you find it less hectic this year compared to your first year teaching 3rd grade, and how? Oh my goodness, yes. I know what I'm doing this year. And I knew what I was doing last year, kind of to an extent. Like I had the teaching part down, but the content was like all new. This year, like it's so much better to teach a grade a 2nd year in a row because you can anticipate things that will arise before you get there. And then you get to kind of like repeat some of the things that you did, but make it better. Like if I teach one class, that was a question somebody had was, do you teach self-contained? Yes, I do. So I teach language arts, math, science, and social studies. I teach the whole thing with my kiddos. If I was not like in my own classroom and I did departmentalized, I feel like I would be much better at teaching the lessons because you get to teach it 2 or 3 times. So by the 3rd time, you'd be like, ooh, I'm a pro. And that's kind of how I feel going into my 2nd year of 3rd grade is now that I've taught this before, I'm like, okay, now I can really like fine tune and make these lessons and these concepts that I'm teaching better and figure out how to do it better. And I've been loving that so far. So yes, it's been way, way better. What is something you're loving in your classroom and something you want to change? Something I'm loving in my classroom is the language arts skills wall that I did. And I shared about it in my classroom setup vlogs, and I've shared it about it in like my first vlog of the school year. But putting those skills on the wall and putting the pictures on the wall has been a huge game changer for me because I can remember what I've taught to my students, but also it's good for just spiral review. Like we'll read a book and I'll say, oh my goodness, let's think about the plot and setting, even if that's not the skill we're going over, to be able to have that as a reference on the wall. If you don't know what I'm talking about, I have all of the skills that we focus on in our benchmarks, and then I've been printing out tiny pictures of the texts that we're going over with that skill. So for example, today we just started descriptive language and we read creepy carrots. And so I put creepy carrots under there so we can remember, oh yeah, I remember when we learned descriptive language and we used creepy carrots as the example. And I'm doing that with any fun text that we use to introduce it, because I've been trying to use like tops and bottoms we used to introduce theme before we went into our curriculum text. Or what was another one that we did? Creepy carrots for descriptive language. What else have we done? You guys, I promise we've done things. Oh, the last stop on Market Street for analyzing characters. We used that text first before we used our curriculum text. So I have both of those up there. I loved it. Oh my goodness. Like I wish I'd done this last year. It's so fun. And I get excited to like add the next book up there to make it look more full. So that's very, very fun. And I think it's been very practical for my students because when I'm going over something and I'm asking them about the plot or setting, they'll like point to the wall like, oh, plot and setting. I'm like, yes, because this is in all of the stories. Like you can pull a theme from almost any text. And I'm not going to say any text, but almost any text. Plot and setting can be in almost any text. So it's helped me not teach them in isolation, but kind of bring full circle moments for my classroom. Something I want to change. I don't really know if there's anything that I want to change after this first quarter. I have a Go Noodle coupon that's like a random Go Noodle, and that one kind of bugs me because they try to do it like right at the beginning of work. So I might reduce the number of Go Noodle coupons that I have, but that might be it. How do you organize your small groups, fourth year teacher, and still trying? It looks different year to year. In first grade, I organized it like very skill based, and we had a structured phonics rotation. So if you're wondering how I did like a structured rotation, I will link that video in the cards for you. Keep in mind, I did that with first graders, and it was for like explicit phonics. I wanted to see everybody, low, medium, high, and give them phonics at their level every day. Third grade's a little bit different. I do more flexible grouping, and I do that with my intervention binder, which I shared in a vlog, so I'll try to share that too. But it's more like I walk around and see who's got the skill. If they don't, I write their number down on a sticky note, stick it in my intervention binder, pull that group during their independent work time or their computer time to just work on that skill with them, and I document it in the binder. So it's really flexible groups. I don't do like the structured, you go here, go here, go here as much anymore because I just don't feel like I need it for my class, but it depends on your class, like class by class, what you need. Do you feel like you constantly think about school even when you're not there? Not anymore. I used to, but not anymore. I've gotten better. This is my 6th year teaching. I've got great balance with that. I don't do schoolwork at home really unless it's something fun that I want to work on or like slides. I've been doing a little bit of slides at home, but that's not bad. It's just working on PowerPoint stuff. So and I won't have to do that every year. It's just this year I was like, okay, I'm ready to do it with slides. And it's been very helpful for me during the day, so it's worth it. But I feel like I've got a better balance there. That's it for my Q&A. I don't know if you just heard that, but there's a rooster in my neighborhood and it just crowed. And so if you heard that, I'm sorry. But that is it for this Q&A for my first quarter. I've got more vlogs, more content coming for you guys. If you have any questions that did not get answered that you're still curious about, or you didn't get a chance to leave a question, drop it in the comments below and I'll try to get back to you with the answer for that. Thank you guys so much for watching and just sitting down to chat with me. I'm about to go heat up my dinner because I'm hungry now. It's only 5:30, you guys. It's only 5:30. I've come home, I've mowed the grass, filmed a YouTube video. Like, who am I? But I'll probably go put my dinner on the stove so it can heat and I don't have to heat it in the microwave. And just enjoy the rest of my evening. Probably work on a little bit of YouTube editing and kick my feet up, relax, and watch some TV because I've already been very productive this evening, which is fantastic. Make sure you give this video a thumbs up and subscribe if you like it. And I apologize for being sweaty and disgusting. It's the end of a long teaching day and I mowed the grass. So yay me. Thank you for watching. And as always, I'll see you guys in the next one. I need, my backpack just fell. This is chaotic already.